Welcome back.
We're back,
Man.
back and better than ever.
How we doing?
Dude, we're doing good. Let's since the last time we kind of talked about real estate, I mean not to jump straight into it, but dude, rates are down. Maybe what would you say, a good half point since the last time we probably talked?
Yeah, it's got to be,
Maybe
yeah,
more.
a point to a point.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, I I've got these numbers memorized because I've been going over them the last couple of days, but week over week, refinances went up 16%. Year over year, they were up 60%. And then as of last week, they made up 43% of all mortgage applications,
Really?
which which is insane because over the last couple of years you didn't even hear about refis, and now they're making up almost half of applications, which is insane. So it shows just kind of what that little bit of movement does. We just hit the lowest. I'm like an encyclopedia right here, baby.
Yeah,
We
keep
just
splitting.
hit the lowest level for mortgage rates in over a year. Which, I mean, dude, I was pricing someone yesterday on a primary, and it was I think we were quoting them at par, like 6.375 or something crazy. I mean, they had, granted they had good credit, and it was a good deal. But and then yeah, you do a point buy down or something, you're getting into the high fives. Whereas maybe this time last year we were quoting people in the mid sevens. Uh,
Yeah.
and I had people over the last couple of years that were getting in at the eights, for some of these. It's I know we've been talking about it for a long, long time. It kept like, maybe it's gonna happen next quarter, and then here we are 2 years later. It's like I think we're finally over the hill.
Yeah, hopefully, let's knock on wood and hope that's the case. But
Yeah.
yeah, dude, any good movement with rates is going to be huge for potential home buyers. I just made a video talking about it because I always am harping on buyers on the fence to be like, hey, come on, time to move. And then I realized like I have not reached out. I shouldn't say reached out. I stay in contact with most people that I've helped, but just like made a broad announcement of like, hey, there might be benefit to refinance. Yeah, that little decrease in rate, even if it's little, it makes a huge difference, especially if you're able to save two, three, $400 on your monthly payment. So that's good news. I know that's pretty funny. 43% of applications said last week.
Yeah, I think last week is when I pulled the stats from. But yeah, 43% of apps were for refinances.
Yeah, dude. And it doesn't surprise me too. Like I think you said it was a 60% increase from last year because the reality is there was
Yeah.
anyone that would have refinanced last year was because you were either getting a divorce or you had crippling debt that you needed to pull from your house to pay off. Like that was your last ditch effort.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good reminder to anyone listening too. Like with refinancing, most of the time, not always, which if you have questions on it when you can, like reach out to Kyle or I, but there's not a time frame. Like you don't have to make, again, for the most part, a certain amount of payments. You can really refinance whenever, whether you need to pull cash out or you're like, hey, does it make sense to get a lower rate now? A lot of the times it's just a matter of looking at when you're going to break even, which to make it easy, like for anybody, you don't want to invest $3,000 to refinance to save $50 a month because that's going to take forever for you to break even on that. But at the end of the day, it's good news. I think the last thing I was going to touch on before we keep going is if you're waiting for another, I just want to make this announcement. If you're waiting for rates to drop again, or you think the election's going to have this crazy drop, which it might, I'm not saying it's not, but you can still get to a lower rate, like say high fives, low sixes right now, and get some concessions from a seller and be able to get that rate now opposed to waiting.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you agree, but the reality is if they do go down again, it's going to be more people that are looking to purchase, and then you're not going to be able to negotiate any terms, and it might even just be harder to get the house. That's just my opinion. So
Yeah.
that's food for thought. I don't know if you want to expand on that, but I think with these drop in rates, it's important to know that like it's good, but it might not be great, especially if you're thinking about buying in the next 6 months.
No, and I won't, beat a dead horse, but yeah, I basically agree with everything you said. Like it's these are the markets, and I can't remember if I've said this on the podcast, but Warren Buffett's like one of my favorite quotes of all time. Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful, right? And what he's just essentially saying is, if everybody you're talking about, it's like, hey, buy Nike stock. It might be too late.
Yeah.
It's probably already at that, inflated price. And when nobody's talking about it and, kind of forgotten about it, maybe it's on a big slump, that's when you do want to buy it. So that's when money's kind of made in markets is in the tough parts of the market cycles. And that's why, you know, I put my money where my mouth is. I bought my home once the market started to slide in 2022, and I was able to get like a big chunk of money from the seller to buy my rate down for me and cover my closing costs and negotiate on price and things like that. And so have all of our buyers in the last couple of years. And I unfortunately think that, while it is good that rates are coming down, I think all that's probably going to come to an end here fairly soon, or at least be more few and far between. So I think that's where you really make the money moves in markets like kind of that we've experienced. And I think there's a little bit of a window of opportunity to still kind of to slide into that. And then,
It's small, but yeah, I agree.
yeah. And like you said, you can really refi whenever, as long as there's, kind of what's said in the industry is there's a net tangible benefit to the borrower. So as long as that client is there's a net benefit to them, they can basically refinance for the most part. And so say you get in now and rates go down again, you can just refi again. And typically, refinances aren't super expensive and your break even's probably going to make sense. But, we're probably starting to bore people here, so I won't go too much into that. But the short answer is, yeah, I completely agree. Like those are, from an investment standpoint, my favorite types of markets, because that's where the money's made. Because when the rates come down and all the buyers flood back in, what's that do to prices, right? It pushes prices up. And so if you could get in a market like this, then you get to gain that equity and realize those gains rather than sit on the sidelines and then pay those higher prices. So I 100% agree.
Well, when you bought in 22,
I think 2022, maybe.
which, like, ideally, I mean, granted, you never can time it, but you bought in a market where, I mean, you remember probably better than I do because you purchased the home. But the only reason I was even bringing that up, I bought in December of this last year. And I'm bringing it up because of the fact, like, one, you got to practice what you preach. And if you're telling other people to do something, you probably want to have that on your resume as well. But I just think it gets lost in translation because I think as a lender or real estate agent, especially with first time home buyers, you're constantly trying to communicate with these potential buyers, hey, this is a good time, this is a good time. And I think sometimes it can get misconstrued and be like, well, yeah, you want me to buy you? That's part of your job. But the reality is it's true. And in these down markets, you just have you have so much leverage as a buyer to get more in negotiation. My last point on it is, unfortunately, the people that are going to lose in this kind of market that we're shifting into with lower rates is going to be first time home buyers, because when there was homes sitting on the market for longer, you had more options or availability to go look at more homes and have that negotiation. When it heats up and there's more people out there, all the first time home buyers are going to be competing for same homes for the same price. Whoever has the most money is going to win. So again, with that window closing, my guess is we probably got, I don't know, what do you think? 60 to 120 days, 4 months, 2 to 4 months, probably an open window, depending on what happens in September. But if you're thinking about it, reach out to Kyle, reach out to myself. We're not going to tell you to buy a house if it doesn't make sense to buy a house right now. We're just going to give you the straight facts and you can do what you want with it. So,
yeah, I think that's why that we both, A, have lasted in the industry, and B, enjoy our jobs, is because we believe in real estate. I've had jobs before where I was in consumer lending and they wanted you to tack on all these insurances to the loans and stuff. And I would always be like near the top of the branch for the amount of loans I was doing, but at the very bottom for the insurances, I'd be at zero, because I would tell people, I'm like, because I didn't believe in them, right? So I can't do that. Like, I can't be like, hey, yeah, like, I'm gonna put you in this house so I get a loan. Like,
yeah,
which unfortunately there's people out there like that, but I don't think that's in our nature. And like, we're doing social media posts, we're doing a podcast in our free time talking about this stuff not because we have to, it's because we genuinely enjoy it and we both like real estate, want to invest in it. That's how we want to build our own wealth. So it's just a plus that we get to help other people do that for a living too. Not to get too corny.
I don't think it's corny at all.
Yeah. But speaking of, we're kind of talking about business here, and this is not necessarily business per se, but it's kind of I think we're both kind of using it for like a lifestyle and a business just to get really locked in to kind of end the year here. Day 2 today of
Yeah.
75 hard.
Yeah. And have you done it before?
No, I've never done it. I've kind of wanted to in the past. And I've done like workout challenges kind of similar where I would do a month or so of like kind of come up with my own goals that I would just kind of come up with them myself. But I've never done this specific thing, so I'm super pumped.
Yeah, I know. Well, we talked about it already a little bit, but I don't think I'd asked you that. But I did it beginning of last year, and then I made it to day 60, and I stopped because there was a boys' trip. I had to go. I had to drink and golf. It was just I couldn't say I couldn't not do it for that, especially because it was like Palm Springs. Obviously, spending money to go somewhere. I'm like gonna enjoy myself. So I'm pumped. I think it's gonna be super. I think not only will it be super challenging, but it'll allow us to like be more in depth in work as well because it forces you to have a lot of structure to your day. Just
Yeah.
planning like when you're going to do your 2 workouts. For anyone that I mean, I don't know if we need to go into the details, but just 75 hard in general, it's super straightforward. Two 45-minute workouts. One's outside. One has to be outside, I should say, and then the other can be outdoors or indoors. Gallon of water, read 10 pages a day. And what am I forgetting?
A diet, follow a diet.
Yeah.
You can kind of set your own diet. It doesn't, it's not like a strict, they don't give you a diet. It's just
Yeah.
like,
Like you have to do keto diet for 75
yeah,
days.
it's kind of come up with you want. So I think you and me are kind of both on the same page. It's not going to be like super rigid, like no sugar, no carbs. It's like, I'm just going to eat healthy, which I feel like we both kind of do already. But, I'll just have to say no to myself when I am, wanting a chocolate chip cookie or whatever it might be. Um, can you hear that lawnmower outside?
Barely.
Okay, because he just came by. He's gone. But and then no alcohol too, which that one's kind of a bummer because I literally just got to Maui, but and I feel like that one doesn't really matter to me because I don't really drink much anyway. But I was like, I feel like I can't like kind of half-ass do it, so I just got to go all in and do it anyway.
For
But
sure.
get to Maui, you want a little Mai Tai on the beach. It's like I guess I got to wait a couple months, but oh well.
It'll taste so much better once you're done, though. It's funny though because I feel like the same, especially with having Vincent, is like I don't necessarily. I never really crave a drink, but
Yeah,
now that we're doing it, there's going to be multiple times throughout the next like couple of weeks where I'm going to be like, wow, I actually maybe I do actually like want to drink here and there more than I think. But I don't know. Bree and I aren't that big of drinkers. I know you and Jazz aren't very either. So it'll be
yeah,
cool. I think it's just the hardest part about the challenge, in my opinion, is the structure and time management, which is why I really have been wanting to do it and want to do it because it forces you. For example, this is so I don't even want to admit this, but day 1 was yesterday, and I didn't work out in the morning, which I normally do. So I had to push out my first workout till 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and then work till 4. Bree and I make dinner early, hang out with Vincent, put him down around 7 to 8 o'clock. Then I had somebody reach out to me that wanted to hop on a phone call at 8:30. Got off the phone at 9. I'm stuck with a workout. Literally the first day, and I already didn't manage my time well enough to where I had to do a workout from 9 to 9:45 in my garage, which didn't want to do it all. Didn't go to bed till 11, which then you pay the price because now this morning didn't go to the gym again, and now I got to do it all over. So I know I went on a little rant there, but like it just you have to be structured, and I think like doing that not only will help just physically, obviously, and mentally, but with work too, helps you dial that in as well.
yeah. It just helps you be super structured and disciplined, right? And I feel like discipline, when you're disciplined in one area of life, it kind of carries over into everything else. And as you continue, you're like, okay, well, yesterday I was really disciplined. Okay, last week I was really disciplined. And then that just keeps building. It just forces you to keep wanting to do it and do more. So it kind of helps in all aspects. So I'm super pumped for that. And if it makes you feel any better, I was doing my last workout last night in like probably the same time at like 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I got my dude. I'm so excited the timing of this too, because being in Maui, like today, my first workout, like I already told you, was 5:30. Had probably 1,000 yards of white sand beach to my complete self, watching the sunrise, and I was just doing some runs,
It's so
lunges,
nice.
Dude, it was electric.
Oh,
Super pumped.
dude, I'm extremely jealous of that. I mean, that adds like a nice little cushion. Not to say you have it easier than me, but the fact you'd be like, I'm just gonna hit one of my workouts on the beach. That's a little added plus.
Not too shabby. But dude, we're getting pretty close. Do you wanna roll into the buys and sells?
Yeah, you want to go first? Or you want to have me go
Yeah,
first?
I'll start us off on the sells. And dude, my sell of the week is little dirty, sticky fingered Disney kids, dude. Because we went to Disneyland. First time I've been in Disneyland since I was a kid. Jasmine had been wanting to go, so I got her tickets for last Christmas, but we finally just used them. And
Little sticky fingered Disney kid.
every ride you go on, you gotta like grab the handle, push stuff down or whatever. They're just like sticky and oily. And then we both got back. This is like right after the wedding too. We get back to Coeur d'Alene for like our last week there. Be out on the lake, hitting our runs and stuff like that we normally do. Like what makes Coeur d'Alene so great. We were just locked in our rooms sick because we get back from that, dude. Like that.
Did you see a kid or do you have a kid in mind like that you can go back to when you think about it? Like that you're just like, dude, it was that little kid that I saw on the line for Tarzan's adventure.
No, but I will say, dude, the line zigzag, and well, there's 1,000 kids that I could think of picturing in my mind from that week. I don't know which one it was, but the line zigzag, and we're kind of going uphill for one ride, and so like we were there, and someone else, was about a couple feet higher in line. Dude, someone just farted that was like
Yeah.
directly into our faces in line, and I was just like, yeah, like it was just
Oh, that helps. That's
it,
like a
it,
sickness cure.
is exactly what I needed for that. And so who knows, dude, maybe that was what got us sick.
Just a big fart in your face, dude. That's just the happiest place on earth, just
Yeah,
representing.
100%. But regardless of all that, it actually was really fun. And it was just me and Jazz. So we made it fun, but just the kids, dude, it was most people on scooters I've ever seen in my life. Probably, probably half the people in that park were on scooters and like half of them, I mean, scooters have their
Scooters?
place, huh?
It's like electric scooters or like just a razor scooter.
No, like the scooters you see people on in the grocery store.
Oh, gotcha.
Dude, it was like real life Wally, dude. I'm like,
This is depressing.
scooters have their place. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, some people need scooters, but like 50% of the people there, I'm like, you don't need to be on a scooter.
Yeah, come on, dude. Get the steps in.
It was unreal, but no, it was super fun. But that was long. What's your sell of the week?
Mine, I'm just gonna keep it on the same topic. Not, I mean, I'm not calling Vincent a little sticky fingered Disney kid, but dude,
Let's call
mine
it
is
spade a spade.
so. I'm gonna make this short, but give you a little bit of context. Like, I feel like growing up, I never had anxiety. Like, I was always like in embarrassing situations. I didn't really think much of it, but like, dude, now that I'm older, I don't know if it's because I drink too much caffeine, but my cell is just flying with a kid. The amount of anxiety I get is off the charts. I'm talking like just feeling the drips of sweat like running down the side of your body. And it's not he was honestly pretty fine. It's just the thought. I guess I care a lot about how other people. I don't want to ruin anybody else's time, and I think I that is the thought. It's not about him crying, like because we can deal with that, but just like everyone else being like, dude, really, like you're a huge inconvenience to us now that
Yeah.
we have to cry. And again, he was great, but dude, yeah, just that process. Like, luck, he was awesome, which is like a blessing and a curse because I think that just means the next time we fly, he's going to be terrible because he was so good the first time. But to all the parents out there that fly with kids, like if you have any tricks, let me know. And if you don't, kudos to you for doing it because I don't like flying at all in the first place. And you throw in a baby, it's can get a little dicey.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I feel like most people, you can't judge too much because nobody's having a worse time than the parents if a kid's crying on a whole flight too. Like, yeah, it sucks like for you too being a bystander, but I promise you it sucks for them more.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I needed that.
Dude, yeah, I always got you.
I'm just gonna go because it's top of mind, dude. It's we're next or this weekend will be week 2 of preseason, so we're 3 weeks out from NFL ramping up. But not only that, I mean, you and I are both huge Seahawks fans, but fantasy football. I feel like the older you get, the more like, and this goes back to the last episode with the Olympics, like you just find things that are like when you're a kid, you're doing so much where you don't have time to like focus in on like what's on TV and the news and whatnot. The older
Yeah.
you get, I feel like with fantasy too, you're like so invested just because, especially because the older you get, you don't see all these people. So now you have this like group text of 12 dudes that you guys just get to talk shit to each other. And I don't know. I always look forward to it, especially just going through the draft, coming up with punishments, figuring out weekly stuff. So I'm hyped. And I think one of our drafts is this Sunday. So it's coming up quick.
Yeah, dude, that's a fantastic buy. And I'm just gonna kind of piggyback off that and kind of steal something. Dude, my buy of the week is a good fantasy football team name.
Yeah, dude. You can
I
get creative.
Dude, there's been some good ones over the years and people getting pretty creative. So, and it's not easy to do too. I mean, because you want to kind of tie it into your team as well if you can sometimes. So yeah, I'm gonna go to a good fantasy football team name because it's not easy to do. Getting creative.
What was your name last year? I feel like I put you on the spot because I feel like you probably had a good one.
Oh, I mean, I always have some good ones. I don't know if we can, maybe say them here, but
I will say mine last year. My team was so trash, and I ended up trading for Alvin Kamara. So I did a mid season name change to Alvin and the Shitmonks. We actually went on a little bit of a run at the end when we ended up not even making the playoffs, so it wasn't worth anything. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for football to start. It's going to be sweet to have it back.
yeah, dude, I mean, enjoy it while you can now in anticipation because I'm coming for your neck week one, and
I'm not
so, all
worried. All
right,
right,
bro.
dude. Well, it was good. I'm glad I'm glad we're back on the wagon. Hope everyone's enjoying. And as always, like, comments, please subscribe so you get those notifications when we post. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions regarding a mortgage, buying a house, or you just have some feedback for the podcast.
Yeah, let us know what you guys want to hear because we're always looking, on what to talk about. So, yeah, dude, good to be back in the saddle, and yeah, let's wrap it up. I think you should buy. We're back.